Kauai, the Garden Island, where time has etched its mountains, spread and colored its canyons, deepened its hanging valleys, and spread a lush green over all. To see it is to understand the Mele or poem, Mai Kai Vale no Kauai Hemolele Ikamalie. Beautiful is Kauai beyond compare. This is Kauai by air. No one knows when it started nor how, but Kauai and its satellite island Niihau emerged together from the surface of the sea. It is the oldest of the Hawaiian Islands. It is an island that will excite the senses. We begin our adventure with Hanapepe Valley. The name Hanapepe means bay crushed by landslides, and it is. The valley is about 10 miles long and has several waterfalls. The largest is called Manuaipuna, which means pool in the mountains. Iridescent rainbows are frequent visitors of the valley. Pele, the colorful and temperamental fire goddess who stands at the center of Hawaiian mythology, is often associated with the volcanic origins of the Hawaiian Islands. One of Pele's earliest homes was the island of Kauai, which was formed by a single shield volcano that at one time soared over 10,000 feet high. Through time, it sank and formed a crater nearly 13 miles long called Olokele Canyon. Most of the rim collapsed, leaving the eastern ridge with two peaks, Waialeale and Kauai Kini. Kauai Kini's summit plateau is the Alakai Swamp, the world's highest altitude swamp, and the home of a wide variety of endemic flora and fauna, like this Amau fern. Because of the lack of deep soil and an overabundance of water, most of the vegetation is dwarfed. Alakai means to lead, and basically this natural reservoir feeds the island's extensive system of rivers and streams. Kauai is the only island with navigable rivers at all. 3 have areas that are navigable year-round. According to its oral traditions, Kauai was the first of the islands to be peopled. The first inhabitants, who made Kauai their home, must have been astonished by the great diversity in the landscape they beheld. The island has no distinct seasons as such. Even in wintertime, the daytime temperature is usually in the 80s. But despite this lack of strong seasonal variation, Kauai is home to an extraordinary diversity of microclimates, from desert to rainforest. Although his 2 ships anchored only 2 miles away in 1778, Captain James Cook and his crew never saw Waimea Canyon. Here in the first ventricle, called Waialae, of Waimea's 25 square miles, you begin to see one of the most impressive sights in all the Pacific. Through millions of years, rains and water draining from the heartland of the island have carved its own natural beauty. The Waialae ventricle contains a series of waterfalls that stair-step one to another for over 2,000 feet, ending in a pool of fresh, cold mountain water. At one time, helicopter tours would stop for a picnic and enjoy a tranquility found nowhere else in the world. But today, its only visitors are wild feral goats. It originally began as a fault in the flank of Kauai's great volcano. Then time and the hands of nature sculptured one of the world's finest works of art, the Waimea Canyon. Waimea means reddish water. The iron-laden silt of the canyon walls tints the river's waters. It is said that Waimea is a miniature version of the Grand Canyon. The comparison spawned its own legend, and today the Waimea Canyon is often called the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. The canyon is the geological history of the island. The horizontal lines that run across the face of the canyon each represents a separate volcanic eruption and subsequent lava flow. The first 15,000 feet of the island is below the surface of the sea. It becomes apparent why it took over 6 million years to develop Kauai. Waimea Canyon is more than just a view. It is an experience. On days when the clouds seem to entrap the canyon, the brilliant colors that give it its magnificence become haunting and foreboding. One feels insignificant, yet a part of the vastness of nature. Miles of ditches and tunnels weave through the ridge of Waimea, bringing life-giving water from the Alakai Swamp to the sugarcane fields, once Kauai's economic king. Pineapples are no longer commercially grown, but papaya and guava are becoming increasingly important and lucrative. According to its oral traditions, Kauai was the first of the islands to be peopled. The first inhabitants who made Kauai their home must have been astonished by the great diversity in the landscape they beheld. Along the drier canyon slopes grow the only fragrant hibiscus, the native white hibiscus. The red hibiscus is the state flower. In the deep gorges, the rare Hawaiian duck, once common throughout the islands, is now only seen in the canyon and on Ni'ihau. The canyon is 10 miles long, a mile wide, and about 3,600 feet deep. The world's largest deposit of bauxite is here in the canyon and was once experimentally mined during the early part of this century. Bauxite is used in making aluminum. As we leave the canyon behind us, one can't help but think I've seen it all. You have not. Not until you see for yourself the spectacular Napali. The Napali Coast State Park encompasses about 6,500 acres of the northwestern coast of the island. Napali means the cliffs. Its spectacular terrain plunges from an elevation 4,000 feet to sea level over a distance of less than 2 miles. This 15-mile stretch of coastline has frustrated road builders and is one of the least disturbed wildlands here in Hawaii. The isolation of the Napali Coast valleys makes them unique in all of Hawaii. The rocky crags along the coast still harbor the vestiges of Hawaiian civilization and protect rare species of plants found nowhere else in the world. The Napali Coast is the result of a 6-million-year contest between solid lava rock and persistent erosion. The natural beauty of Kauai is only part of its appeal. Where the land is the wildest, the native tradition is most intact. Every valley, cave, mountain, and stream has its own story. New Ololoaina Valley reveals few of its hidden treasures. The valley, which has no translated meaning, is often described as the most impressive of the Napali valleys. Its broad valley floor accommodates a complex network of native-built terrace walls, while the surrounding cliffs are pockmarked with ancient burial caves. In 1922, a group of explorers found in one cave a canoe with human bones and artifacts, a common burial practice of high-ranking Hawaiians. Unfortunately, they dislodged the canoe with its sacred cargo and sent it crashing to the valley floor. The Hawaiians left more than legends and ghosts. They left tangible things like temples, house platforms, and terraces. And though they stand in disrepair, there is nothing in them that is out of harmony with the land. As we leave the valley, we are reminded that the Na Pali coastline is an awesome spectacle to behold. Na Pali is a place where ordinary adjectives just don't apply. Honufu Valley offers one of the most enchanting settings along the Na Pali coast. Two wide sand beaches are divided by a dramatic arch and flanked by a small waterfall that leads to a crystal blue ocean. The best translation of Honufu is Conch Bay. A legend about the mythical Mu people, a race that preceded the people of Atlantis, gives it the nickname Valley of the Lost Tribe. In the early part of this century, explorers who camped at Honufu reported seeing a fishing shrine nestled in the dunes behind the beach. However, that shrine has not been seen since that time. Leaving Honufu Valley, Na Pali beckons us to more adventure. For 15 miles, Na Pali continues, sliced by deep, narrow valleys, deep volcanic browns, and broken by green vegetation. Valley is the largest on the Na Pali coast. The valley remains shrouded in mystery and legend, inaccessible to all but the most adventurous, a refuge for people of free spirit. It has always been so. The valley is an extensive complex of archaeological sites with native-built terracing covering every usable acre, as it was once inhabited till the early part of this century. Kalalau's size and inaccessibility have helped to keep it the most beautiful valley in the Pacific. Once densely populated but now abandoned, it is a Shangri-La for waterfalls and several varieties of fruit trees. This incredibly lovely and isolated spot once served as a hideout for a band of fugitive lepers described by Jack London in his tragic tale, Ko'olau the Leper. The ancient Hawaiians flourished for years in this valley, but its isolation lost its appeal after Western man established new and exciting centers of population. Like country folks everywhere, the people of Kalalau Valley gradually moved away to town. Up until the middle of this century, the care and beauty of the valley and the island was being neglected. Then in 1964, the enactment of the state land use law protected and enhanced Kauai's resources of scenic beauty and open spaces. From Kalalau to Kauai Beach is the windward stretch of Nepali. Its heavily eroded and thickly forested areas attains its splendor through an abundance of rain. Stretching along the coast is the Nepali Coast Trail. It is hikeable and camping is allowed, but state permits are required. The trail begins at Kauai Beach. Often on flight tours in the winter season, you'll see the majestic humpback whales. Adult humpbacks will grow to 40 feet in length and can weigh up to 80,000 pounds. While in the water of the Hawaiian Islands, the humpback whales breed and bear their young. At birth, the young humpback calves weigh about 2,000 pounds and put on an average of 250 pounds a day for the first few months while nursing. The adult humpbacks do not do any feeding while in the islands. At one time, the Hawaiian waters were abundant with these gentle giants. But the whaling industry and greed of man soon all but wiped out the entire population. Today, man, now its ally, protects these creatures of the sea. Humpbacks, by the way, are the Hawaii state mammal. From Kauai Beach to Honolulu, the North Shore of Kauai is the hideaway for well-known people, movie stars, and the setting for many motion pictures. Mitzi Gaynor and Rosanna Brazzi from the movie South Pacific helped to make Lumahai Beach famous. Lumahai Valley was the setting for Uncommon Valor, and Raiders of the Lost Ark credits the North Shore of Kauai with its opening scenes. Most of the time, though, the North Shore is known for its quiet, peaceful way of living. Over 100 years ago, Honolulu Bay was an active commercial center for trading vessels and whalers. Exports included cattle, taro, rice, and oranges were once shipped to California before the large fruit orchards were started back in 1850. But today, crescent-shaped Honolulu Bay is a popular resort site. And who could forget Bali High from the movie South Pacific? A valley that has changed little in over 100 years is Honolulu Valley. It has a personality of its own. The valley produces most of the major agricultural crop on Kauai, taro. But its magnificent vista is what never fails to impress man. Much of the valley is owned by the U.S. Department of the Interior, which maintains it as a sanctuary for endangered species of Hawaiian birds. Kauai is also the home of the legendary Menehune. They were a race of people, small in stature, that were exceptional stonemasons and prodigious builders. They only worked at night, completing each of their projects in one single night. Other islands also have their Menehune legends, but on Kauai they abound. Legends of the time before the Menehune tell of another people called Mu. This correlates with other relevant myths of a sunken Pacific continent called Lemuria that predated the more famous Atlantis. Whoever it was that lived here before the Polynesians possessed tools, skill, and knowledge that the Hawaiians did not have. Spectacular mountain ranges. Lush green valleys and breathtaking waterfalls are a trademark of Kauai. Freshwater streams flow cold and pure from fractures in internal volcanic dike systems. Mount Waialeale, once the eruptive center of the island, shows only faint evidence of the fires that used to burn far below. Patterns of black ash can still be seen on some of the vertical cliffs, and molten rocks lie twisted deep within the interior. Waialeale means rippling waters. It is the home of numerous waterfalls and is often called the wettest spot on Earth. It averages over 450 inches of rainfall each year. The peak of Waialeale is seldom seen from the rest of the island. Occasionally at dawn, it may stand clear, but by early morning, it's nearly always covered by a mantle of clouds. From this mountainous source, the Garden Island maintains its healthy bloom. Kauai remains a memorable, secluded Hawaiian place, even in today's world of convenient transportation. Known to those who know of it, the Garden Island of Kauai is an out-of-the-way place, a haven for those wishing to get away from it all. You have now seen it, and now you understand the mele or poem that begins, "Beautiful is Kauai beyond compare." You have just experienced Kauai by air.